Oh, I'm not gonna be happy till I get this. I can't wait till I get that. Oh, I'm gonna be so happy when I get that. Okay, what about when you get the thing? When you get the thing, are you saying that you're gonna be happy every day, that you're gonna be happy all the time? No, it's going to transition into you having hard times even when you have that thing, and you're going to have to learn how to be happy with the thing. Hey y'all, my name is Gabby. Welcome back to my channel. I don't typically like to talk on subjects unless I have my own experience from it, or God brings me wisdom, or I've done my research on it enough to speak on it. And this is something that I know I can speak on because honestly, I have lived so much of my life unhappy. And I never really realized it until I really started to go deep into figuring out who I am, what I'm about, what I want, and what God wants for me, and how to go about living that life that He has for me. And I was thinking one day a while ago, just trying to think about the last time I felt happy. And I don't mean happy in the sense of like, oh, something is about to happen, I'm about to get something, I'm about to go somewhere. No, I just mean genuinely happy. Day by day, in the moment, going to bed, waking up happy. And honestly, when I realized how long ago it was that I had felt in that aura, I just couldn't believe it. So when I think back of the last time I felt in my life that I felt just regular peace and happiness, I was about 8 or 9 years old. It's so crazy because when I would think of my life, I will always say, you know, I enjoyed my childhood. I appreciate everything that all the people in my life have done for me, and I appreciate everything I went through because it made me who I am today. That's what I will always say, and I will still say that now. But the difference between then and now is that now I have opened my eyes and realized that some of the things that happened to me were not okay, and they were not normal. Some of the things that people did to me and some of the ways that I was treated was totally out of line, and I didn't realize it, you know, because when you live in life, especially as a kid, you don't know. There's so many things that happen, you don't know how to say it, what to say it. And then I don't know about other households or cultures, but in the Black community, things seem to be shifting now. But at least back in the day, there was not that type of environment where you can open up and just share things about what you thought or what you were going through, because your parents either didn't ask because they were already wrapped up in all their own stuff, or they just didn't know, or it was a type of lifestyle that was like children are to be seen and not heard. But once I started cracking open like some of the things that happened to me, learning who I am and why I am the way I am, and like what happened to me at certain stages of my life, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I wish I could give little Gabby a hug. Because I endured so much, and I didn't know until I was about to turn 30 that I spent most of my life unhappy, but I didn't realize it because I was just always in go mode, hustle mode. And it really took God sitting me down, you know, me losing my job and then me having another baby, and my life really feeling like it got out of control for me to really understand what got me here today and how have I been unhappy for so long. What am I doing? So that's what this video is about, and I really want to get into the mindset that is behind somebody being unhappy for so long. Because the truth of the matter is, like, we're not going to be happy all the time, like we all know that, but you will go through stages of unhappiness, and that's okay. But when you're talking about months, years, decades of being unhappy, being unfulfilled, it's something going on, it's something wrong. And it gets to a point where it's really just about your mind, because you can even see where some people seem to have everything, man. They seem to have everything and they still be depressed, they still have anxiety and all these other mental health issues that I believe are very much real, but there's something behind that. And one of the first things that I noticed when I was getting to a point where I was like, okay, I'm ready to get out of this, I'm ready to move forward with my life, is that I was constantly thinking negatively. me. I would wake up in the morning with not the best outlook, like, oh, here we go again, like, here go another day, I'm about to have to deal with this, I'm about to have to deal with that, and blah, blah. Like, I'm already thinking about all the stuff I would have to deal with when I woke up throughout the day. And then it was not even just stuff about my day. My mind would constantly play records of things that happened in the past. Like, man, I can't believe she did me like that. Oh, that's crazy that they said that to me. It could be somebody who I talked to on a regular, somebody who I ain't talked to in a while. It could have been a stranger that gave me the finger in traffic. Like, I still be thinking about it later, like, yo, what a jerk, like, da, da, da. Like, you know, like, certain stories would just continue to play in my head. And then it came down to me looking at my personal life, like my reality at the moment. I would just talk so much cash about what was going on in my life. I would try to look on my future, and it would just be so hard for me to think positively about things going in another direction. And then when it came to me looking at myself, looking at the mirror, sometimes I would be so ashamed at what I let my life become, and I would just look at my body. Oh my gosh, like, I would say such mean things to myself. And now that I've healed from this, I can't even believe the type of stuff I used to say. I used to be like, girl, you look like a meatball. I really was like going in on myself. Like, I was a hater. I was just like, girl, like, why you look like that? You need to fix that. And I have this plaque hung up on one of the walls in the house that says, talk to someone like someone you love. And it's crazy because when I bought that, I was like, oh my gosh, I love that, but I wasn't even embodying that. And now I do. Like, and I try to use that towards really just anybody, but especially myself, because we have a way of being so freaking mean to ourselves that we will say crazy stuff to ourselves that we would never say to anybody else, period. So when you are in a cycle of thinking negative, you don't even know that you're doing it because it's so normal. Like, I'm telling you, that start paying attention to what you think about certain stuff out in the day. It might be about somebody else. They need to get it together. Oh, look, you saw what happened to him? Yeah, that's what he get. Like, when you really start getting in tune with yourself and with your thoughts and what you're saying, and you realize how negative you are all the time, most of the time you don't even mean it. But when you create this negative mind, that's how your mind works. It looks for something else negative. Like, when you set your mind to always look for the positive, your mind is automatically going to start working to look for something else positive. Like, that's just how your mind works. So this is one major thing that's really keeping you in unhappiness. Like, you really have your brain wired to think about and look for and process through negative stuff. So you really got to start getting past that and start thinking more positively. And when it comes to that, oh my gosh, that's gonna have to be a video for another day, because it really kind of like bugs me how people just be like, think positive, because it's really not that easy when you are someone who have lived in a whirlwind of always thinking negatively. Like, you have to start with the smallest things. Like, when I started looking at myself saying, like, okay, Gabby, we're gonna start being nicer to ourselves, I had to start with something small. Like, your smile is beautiful today, girl. Look at your hair, it's popping. I had to pick one small thing that I liked and compliment myself on that. So sometimes that's what being positive is, just taking one little slither of something and speaking on that and just running with that. Most of us know that the negative is so powerful. You can have a beautiful, wonderful, marvelous day, and one bad thing can happen, and then you could focus on that one bad thing for the rest of the day and use that one thing to be like, yo, my day was good until da da da. I thought I had a good day until da da da. Or you could just outright be like, I had a bad day because da da da. The negative is so strong, and you really got to start maneuvering your way out of that into a more positive light. Another thing that could be weighing you down is being the victim. You might hear people say, like, you playing the victim, you acting like the victim, but no, when somebody is the victim, they're the victim. Like, they're not playing the game. And that used to be me. And sometimes it was very much so, and it was very much validated, actually a lot of times, because I used to attract the most negative people, like the worst friends. People always used to like talk over me, walk over me, take advantage of me, take from me, steal from me. And I'm like, yo, like, this happened over and over and over with family, with friends. It's just like, what is it about me that's making these people come around? Like, when I started going on this journey, I really had to figure that out. What about me is making somebody like that want to be around somebody like me? because at the end of the day, that's what it is. You know how they say opposites attract? I think to a certain extent, like I tend to attract very talkative people. Like, oh my gosh. I'm still trying to figure out how to maneuver through this because I can't stand when somebody like talk my head off, can't take social cues. When I try to end a conversation, they just keep on talking. Like it blows me, like seriously. And I know I attract people like that now that I'm aware of it, because I'm a good listener, you know. I engage with people, and before I was in the victim because of that, because it would really crush my productivity, especially at work. And I will always be like, man, why people always coming around trying to talk to me, and why people doing this, why people doing that? Like, when you're that person that's always getting done wrong, no matter if what you're saying is true or if it's a little far-fetched, as long as you're constantly in victim mode, there's no way you can be happy. Like, victims are not happy, they're being victimized. And until you start stepping into who you are, once you realize who you are, you know who you are, and you really take your power back to be like, no, I get to decide that I'm done with this. I say that this conversation is over when I get to a point where I got work to do. I get to say, no, what you said to me was very disrespectful, but I'm gonna let you slide and I'm gonna keep going on about my day. When you get to a point where you are living in your power and you keep it moving, you can really slowly start to get out of that victim, because you know nobody can't play with you. You can't even play with yourself. You feel me? So being a victim is just not gonna cut it. And when you start separating from that, it's gonna be difficult, because that becomes a part of you. Like, when you are truly in victim, part of you wants to be that. You want people to feel sorry for you, or you want to feel sorry for yourself. Like, even if you don't want sympathy from someone, you want people to see, hey, this is how they did me and it was wrong. Like, it's something out of that you want for you to even be in that place. You know, you want people to be like, oh dang, that's crazy they did you like that, or dang, that's so messed up, I'm sorry to hear that happen to you, or I'm sorry that you're going through that. There's something in you that thrives off of that feeds off of that. So if you are a person who are in victim, which is likely that you might be if you're in a constant state of unhappiness, it might be difficult breaking away from that, but you can do it. Like, you really just have to start seeing yourself as a more powerful being, a person who can do what they want and what they need to do. And the next thing is that you always want something. It doesn't matter where you are in your life, you want something else. You want a better job, you want a better relationship, you want better friends, you want a better car, you want more money, you want a child, or you want more children. It's okay to want things in life and want more. It's good to be at a place that you want more, because that's how you really know that you can get to a point where you continue to grow and you continue to level up and elevate. So I'm not saying that it's not good to want more, but not constantly though. Like, when you're waking up every day or going to bed every night thinking about how you want something that you don't have, you're always going to feel like you're lacking something. You're never going to feel full within, because you don't have that thing. And then when you do get that thing, it might not even be what you thought. Like, I know a lot of my peers are in a space where they're starting to want or get married and have children. And especially at this age, you know, as a woman wanting to have children, I think it's very important to know that that time is going to come for you, and just continue to love yourself and enjoy what you have right now. Like, live in the moment right now, because if you have taken in any type of information, research, content, or just have little kids in your family in general, you know that having children is not a game. It's not a game, and your children change your life forever, period. They change your life forever, period. So you got to get to a point where you can be happy with where you're at until what you want comes to you. Because if you're like, oh, I'm not going to be happy till I get this. Oh, I can't wait till I get that. Oh, I'm going to be so happy when I get that. Okay, what about when you get the thing? When you get the thing, are you saying that you're going to be happy every day? That you're going to be happy all the time? No, it's going to transition into you having hard times even when you have that thing, and you're going to have to learn how to be happy with the thing. Because at the end of the day, all of these things and environments and relationships and people or whatever that we want are not going to be the end all be all that make us happy forever. Whatever we want is going to come with some sort of struggle. It's in some sort of way. So you can't continue to want, thinking that these things are going to fill you up, because you'll never get to a point of being happy. And this next thing is really something that broke the camel's back for me, was when I realized that I kept doing the same things over and over. You know, like when I look at my past relationships and I just think on how I got treated the same ways but in a different way over and over and over, after a while I had to like look at myself. Like if you look back on your relationships and you see like, dang, I done got cheated by every dude. Or I even know a girl who every one of her relationships she got beat on. You know, it's just like after a while you can't just be like, oh, every dude that I date is like this, so all men are like that. Like you can't clump everything in like that because of your track record. Like your track record is that, is your track record, is your history. So the only common denominator is you. So you have to figure out what in the world you're doing, what you're saying, what you're not doing, what you're allowing. Like what the heck, what are you doing to keep making this same thing happen over and over? When I realized that, I was like, yo, I was really like, yo, that's the thing, that's it. Even something as simple as my weight. I'm like, dang, because I would be doing so good, and I'm doing good, y'all. I'm gonna update y'all with that later. But I would be doing so good, and about like a couple weeks in, I'd be like, I'm gonna have a sandwich for lunch today. I'm gonna have a chips. It's not that bad. That's always what I would do. And then next thing I know, a few weeks down the road, I'm not eating right anymore. But this time on my weight loss journey, because I told myself, and I told y'all in that last video, that this was gonna be my last time. When I make something like a wrap or a sandwich or something, I still thought that. I thought, oh, let me just eat a bag of chips. It's only 150 calories and it'll be really good. But I had to tell myself, Gabby, no, you always do that. You always do that. And you said it was going to be different this time around. So how about you have some carrots with a little bit of ranch? So I'm like, okay. The next day I wanted some chips again. No, I chose fruit instead. And after a while, when you start making these different decisions, you start seeing different outcomes in your life. I don't know what it is you might be seeing repeating in your life, because if you're at a point where you're unhappy in your life, it's very likely that something has repeated itself. And it only repeats itself when you make the same decision. If you choose a man based off the same things that you chose the last man from, how tall he is, how nice his smile is, how good he looks, it's likely that you're going to run into the same type of situations. If you're in a certain space in your life spiritually and you talk to that man and everything is going cool, but you don't ask him nothing about his spiritual life, baby, sis, don't expect him to be that man that you thought he was or that you thought he was going to be. There's so many other things that you're missing because you're doing the same things that you did last time. If you were a man, you giving him the buns like a week or two in, you expect him to make you his girl, you making the same decision you did last time by giving up the buns before he even committed to you or in any kind of way. That's a big deal when it comes to getting unstuck or living unhappy or depressed or whatever that may be for you. You have to start making different decisions, and you can only do that by looking back at your past situation and your current situation to see what you've been doing and what you can do differently. And I say all that to say this: you need to heal. You cannot heal until you realize these things, until you open your eyes to these things, until you get really real with yourself. That little thing that be in the back of your head pestering or that you keep pushing aside, you gotta be open to it. You gotta be open to it. If you're the type of person who lie all the time, you gotta be real with yourself and be like, yo, I be lying. I don't like that about myself, but now that I can say that and I know that, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to get through it. Why do I lie? Why can't I just be real with people? Why do I do that? You really gotta be honest with yourself, and you gotta start digging deep. And sometimes that stuff back there is ugly, but if you really want to be happy, you really gotta start digging through that stuff to become who you want to be and who you know you can be. When I tell y'all that scripture in the Bible that says, The truth shall set you free is one of the most cliche, overused, because you can never overuse the scriptures that it just bloop, I think it just goes over people's head. But it's so true. Like, once you embrace that, you face it, and you push through it, and you get through it, ooh, nobody can tell you nothing. They can't tell you nothing, because you already know. You already processed it. You got through it, and you're good. The healing is real, and you can't expect for this to happen 2 weeks, a couple months. It might even take a year for you. But just like any other thing, when you hit certain checkpoints, you can congratulate yourself. You can celebrate. You can take a breath of fresh air. You can sit back a little further in your seat every time you hit that checkpoint, or you hit a point, an epiphany, where you realize, dang, this feels good. Like, I'm getting better. I'm getting better. I am gonna boldly say you will never be happy unless you heal. You heal that stuff on the inside of you. You heal that stuff that happened to you a long time ago. That stuff that you try to act like that didn't happen. That stuff that you try to forget about. That stuff that created you who you are today, and you don't even realize it because it was just your childhood. You thought it was normal. Happiness isn't something that you should just feel when you're going somewhere, when you're getting something, when you're anticipating something. It should be something that you feel all the time, sprinkled with a little anger and sorrow and embarrassment and all that. You shouldn't have a life of lack and depression sprinkled with happiness. Like, no, happiness is the foundation, and the other stuff, the other bad emotions are just sprinkled on top because they're just a part of life. That's how you should see that, and that's how it should be. And I'm telling you, if you want to get to a place where you're more happier, this is what you need to know, and this is the guideline that you need to take to start getting there. Now, some of this stuff you can't do on your own. Over here, we bring God into our situations, okay? So you're gonna have to bring God in, whether you pray, and praying you're just talking to God, or whether you want to read your promise Bible, or you want to get with like-minded people who are going through the same things, or join a community like mine. Hey, you just got to do what you got to do, and I'm telling you, bit by bit, you will get there. That's it for today, y'all. Until the next one, I love y'all, and peace and love.